This week's news from the tubes on F5 Live Refreshing Technology is proudly powered by Malwarebytes. Whether you use a PC, a Mac, or a mobile device, Malwarebytes Premium is the company's strongest protection ever. It fights threats that traditional antivirus software can't stop, plus it actively blocks threats like worms, rogues, dialers, trojans, spyware, and a whole lot more. It allows you to use your computer and mobile devices with confidence and peace of mind. To learn more and to get a special price, you can go to f5live.tv/malwarebytes. If you've been around the show for a while, you know that COPPA, the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, is a big topic for us. If you're not aware of it, it is a law that creates a whole variety of rules around what can and cannot be done with data related to any child under 13. If you've ever noticed, online services tend to say you must be 13 to sign up, and that's because they don't want to deal with this at all. However, just by saying it is not enough. You have to actually be not just reactive, but pretty proactive on ensuring that even that terms of service rule is followed. And Meta is in a lot of trouble over exactly that. So here's what we've got. We have two lawsuits, one against Meta and one from Meta. The one against Meta was filed a couple weeks ago by a collection of states over the way that Meta deals with accounts of people under 13. We know that they exist. Facebook, Instagram, Threads have kids on them. But the company is supposed to respond to reports of terms of service violation, particularly those under 13, and act accordingly, essentially lock the accounts. But data that was unredacted this week as part of the complaint filed in this lawsuit shows that no, that's not happening. In 2021, 406,000 complaints, 402,000 complaints were made, and they only addressed 164,000 of them. So that's less than half were even addressed, which means that some of them are going to be false. Some of them are going to be people that look younger than they are, things like that. But certainly not more than 50%. So that means that...
Who's reporting it?
Users. It happens a lot.
So users...
Yeah, it's part of the reporting system. It's the same as if there is nudity or hate speech or any of that stuff. It's the same reporting. Underage is one of the choices. And so they received 402,000 reports in 2021, and they only addressed 164,000. So less than half. Not great. And overall, between 2019 and mid this year, as the lawsuit was being prepared, they had received 1.1 million reports. And so if you look at that, it would be less than 500,000 were addressed if it's the same ratio. So that's not great. The company has actually said in front of Congress in testimonies that they address each and every complaint, which creates some hot water for them. But the states can't address potential perjury in front of Congress, but they can address this and violations. So that suit was filed, and we learned some new information this week because some of it was unredacted. I apologize. On the other hand, there's an interesting situation where Meta has sued the Federal Trade Commission over over the potential of not being able to monetize data collected from kids. But it's important to note this is not 12 and under. This is 13 to 18. So there was a
Right.
settlement in 2020 over other privacy concerns with children with the FTC, and part of that said that they would not monetize any of the data that was collected on users under 13. The FTC is trying to amend that to be under 18. Meta's not having it. Their pitch is essentially they are legal users of the platform. COPPA doesn't apply here. Our settlement doesn't apply here. You're trying to amend it. You're trying to essentially be prosecutor and judge on this.
Hmm.
And that is a violation of our constitutional rights. So it's going to be a really interesting case. But while they're fighting this case against the FTC, they're also being sued for the other side of it. So the timing isn't great on the situation for them, right? Because it's hard to say we want to monetize. We want to not adjust the terms of a settlement over child privacy violations while being sued for child privacy violations. It's definitely a tenuous situation that they're in, but the argument that they've made in the FTC case is fairly sound, right? The FTC is trying to be both a prosecutor and a judge in this case, saying, "We're amending this. Whatever. We're changing the terms of what you agreed to." A little weird.
I've altered our deal. Pray I don't alter it any further.
Indeed. Yeah. It's it comes across a little mafia-y, which isn't great.
Like
Um,
Darth Vader when he says, and anyway.
yeah. Yeah.
uh,
Space
so
mafia. I got it.
yeah, yes. So yeah, I mean, I get it. If you're listen, they in order Meta. I mean, I hate to be Zuckerberg's advocate, but uh,
Yeah, I
Meta
know.
is providing a service. The 13-year-olds are using the service.
Hmm.
Um,
The 17-year-olds are
therefore,
using the service.
right, the 13 to 17-year-olds are
Yeah.
using the service. Therefore, they are therefore they have to make money off of them. Now,
Right.
uh, are they making money off of them if they don't sell the data? I don't know, but like, you know, they're yeah. I mean, also, I'm not really sure if I see a material harm. Like, what data are they selling? They're just having advertisers get data about people.
Probably. It's probably
I
just
mean,
targeted
what?
ad sales.
Come on. I
Yeah.
mean, I think the better question is, I mean, here's the problem. You really cannot, without spending a lot of money, cannot provide children with with an ad-free experience. Like, my daughter's very young and we let her watch some videos on YouTube and she's got to like hit the skip button and she's seeing ads for stuff. So like, you know, is she being targeted? Well, it's my account, I guess, so I'm being targeted whatever with with ads. But like, you know, it's come on. Also, kids were targeted with have been targeted with ads since the beginning of time. I mean, ever watch Saturday morning cartoons when they used to
Yeah.
have them?
Yeah.
Think they were targeting your parents with those ads for cereal,
Right.
the ads for toys.
Right.
Um,
But in
so
fairness, that was a general targeting based on the content versus
right.
specific targeting based on the watch history,
I mean,
which requires collecting the watch history against an account, which COPPA does not allow.
yeah, but if they're over 13, it does allow it,
It
right?
does, yes.
So
Exactly.
so listen,
Yeah,
it's
the
it's one of the.
FTC, the FTC has essentially waded into weird territory here. Tr- I don't know if they're trying to expand COPPA, like against Meta, or I don't know exactly what they're trying to
I
accomplish
mean,
here, but I
you
don't
would
I
need
don't
to
think
go
they have the
back.
authority to do it.
I don't either. I think if this is such a concern, then get, and I think there might even well be bipartisan support for such a
Mm-hmm.
thing,
Mm-hmm.
to expand COPA to 18. But there would be some issues because you have a lot of young folk who are on, social media. And so are they all going to, I mean, are they all going to be kicked off? Or are they just going to start lying and saying that they're 18? Like, are they going to use their parents' accounts?
Right.
Like, unfortunately, kids end up on different services,
Mm-hmm.
because, um, you know, online, because you can't really, unless, the one of the things that shocked me as a parent when I first became a parent many years ago was like how quickly my son got online, right? Like
Uh-huh.
how young he was when he was first like starting to use video games and computers and tablets and things like that, how quickly he was on stuff. And we still really try to shield him from anything where he's going to interact with strangers.
Right.
um, but I know a lot of people with kids younger who they let them play games like Fortnite, where isn't the whole point that you're there interacting with strangers?
Yep.
So, some of whom are most likely adults.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, yeah, I think it's very, and like, Roblox has a very, checkered, reputation, and a
Uh-huh.
lot of kids play that. So, yeah,
Yeah.
I think we've got a lot of
Roblox has
issues.
all kinds of other issues as well, though, outside of just that
Yeah,
one.
right. So, I think there's a lot, obviously there's a lot of controversy about TikTok and
Mm-hmm.
kids getting influenced by things that, say, the Chinese government might be interested in them to know.
Yeah.
Uh, so, yeah,
Or if you step away from that, the weird trends that happen that often on TikTok, which oftentimes end up being dangerous.
right. And it might also be that those are things that the Chinese government wants them to know,
Fair
right? I
enough.
mean, or
Fair enough.
whatever. It's not all necessarily about China necessarily. I
Sure.
mean, it might be
Sure.
that they're allowing things that are whatever. Who knows? Anyway, so yeah, I think there's obviously some issues here. It was interesting to me at the time that COPA came out, which now is going back like 21 years.
Yeah.
But I was working in the industry before it came out, and when it came out, and I was working at about.com, they had to lock some things down that weren't locked down before,
Yep.
and get rid of some features like open chat rooms that they had. And it was interesting to me at the time, and still today, that the government decided that 13 was the line. Like your teenager, 13 was the line. So now,
Yeah.
if you get your bar mitzvah, you literally are an adult in the eyes of COPA, right? Um, it's the only thing that you can say that like is
Yeah.
truly consistent with your bar mitzvah, or just turning 13 if you're not Jewish. Um, the is the only thing that is real the benefit that you get from turning 13, because when you turn 16 you get a driver's license, and you can
Mm-hmm.
get a driver's license in most states. Some states you can get a learner's permit at 15, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
14 in some states you can get a work permit, although now I think there's some states that have made it 12, which I think is a little much. um, Right, but when I was growing up, at 14 was the absolute youngest you could get a work permit with a signature from your parents. So 13 didn't really get you anything. You didn't get any perks for being
Yeah.
13. But since COPA, you get a perk, which is you get to be like an adult, the equivalent of an adult online.
Yeah.
You know,
You do get to
so
be called a teenager.
yes, you get to be called a teenager. You don't get any real like legal perks. There's
Yeah.
so many perks that you get when you're growing up.
Yeah.
Now when you get to be after you hit like 25, there's no more perks. It's like it's just a downer after
Yeah.
that, right?
Yeah, not
Until
until
you draw
Social
Social
Security.
Security or something. Until you draw Social Security and Medicare or something, you don't get any perks, right? It's just a downer, whereas almost every year you're getting new perks when you're when you're a teenager, like, ability to work legally, ability to drive at night, uh, ability to be charged as an adult, um, ability to ability to vote, ability to enlist in the army, ability to drink, ability to rent a car for most car rental places. Like, you know, but after, but after all that, you just kind of, it's just kind of a fail. But now you can see that 13 is the COPPA line. You can legally get an account and have your data passed around like just like the rest of us.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
Oh, the being able to be charged as an adult, I was not prepared for that one.
I mean, honestly, I'm just
That
throwing that
one
in because
broke me.
I don't think there's a particular line for that one
There's not.
in most states.
That one broke me though.
But
I wasn't prepared for that.
but but any, but anyway, yeah. So I think I have to side with Facebook here. If they
which
want to
is
turn
which is weird to do.
right, if they want to turn 13-year-olds back into legal online children, then they need to pass a new law.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The FTC can't just decree it, and they can't apply it indiscriminately to one company.
Right.
If it's going to be a rule, it's going to have to be a rule, and I think and obviously that requires an act of Congress. So the second part of this, I feel like Meta's going to win, and the first part of this, I feel like Meta's going to lose a
Yeah,
lot.
sounds about right.
Because
Sounds about
they've
right.
literally lost this case at the federal level once before. It's how we got here. So they're fighting it now at a state level with new data, essentially claiming that they haven't fixed the problem. So the first one, I think they're going to lose by a lot, and the second one, I think they're going to win, because there seems like there's no way a court can uphold the FTC trying to do this. So we'll see how it shakes out, but I think we already know the direction it's going to go. Hello, YouTube. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this episode of F5 Live Refreshing Technology. If you did, please subscribe to the channel down below, and of course hit the notification bell, because we know that subscriptions don't mean much on YouTube anymore. If you've got topics that you'd like us to talk about in the future, please comment them down below. And if you'd like to not follow us on YouTube, there's lots of ways that you can follow along with our content by going to plughitslive.com/subscribe. There you'll see all of our shows and all of the ways that you can watch, listen, and follow along.